I think, okay, 1 second. I think for most of us, I think we know the Zimbabwean economy, it's not a stable economy. So for most of us, we have to really hustle to make it. And I think as young people, we have been conditioned to thinking that we can get jobs to make it in life, but we see as the decades have progressed, we've seen that that's been a lie. And for most of us, we have to make it by hustling ourselves, by finding ourselves our own employment. So for me, it was an idea that we had with a friend. His name is Allan. He was on attachment when I first began my employment. So it was the kind of thing where one day we're always talking about what can we do, so that when you finish school, and also I'm employed, but when you finish school, what can we do so that you don't get to sit at home and be like, there's no employment.
Hello? Hello? I think we lost her. Heather, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I think you can step in. Same question to you. What led you to become an entrepreneur and into tech? What attracted you to that? Yeah.
Okay. So my entry into tech was actually by chance. I started out working in technology when I was working for a user experience and web development agency in Johannesburg. At the time, I was doing pay-per-click marketing. So the Google AdWords, the Facebook ads, how do we run campaigns online? And this is after I had finished an internship with Digify program in 2016. So it was actually a pivot from my law school studies after financing ran out. So that's how I found myself working in tech. And then I got really interested in it because we were working with a full team, like a software engineering team. So my supervisor and I, we were at the last stage. So the team would work with, they would meet the client, decide what kind of websites the client needed or what kind of app the client needed, and then come and communicate with us about where we'd place code, for example, to be able to track now the client's marketing objectives. So I used to sit behind a friend, Matthew, and he was the front end developer. And when I would turn, I would see all this code running up and down the screen, and I was, wow, that's so cool. And after I think you've seen the movie The Matrix, it was quite exciting. So I started thinking to myself that I think that this is the way the world is going. That was around 2016, and I kind of need to know what this is about. So in 2017, around 2017, I had now registered for email updates from Burn. It was called Burn at the time. And I would read about tech startups, about news that was, coming in, what people were doing and everything. Then there was an advert that day, and it was from MEST Africa, the Meltwater Entrepreneur School of Technology. And they were asking young people who were interested in entrepreneurship to apply. And then they would be out to Ghana for 1 year, teach you how to do, teach you how to build a tech stack, teach you how to work in tech. Yeah, and they're like, it's fully funded. And I was like, West Africa, this looks, is this dodgy? But
You still there? Are you there? Did you go mute? Let me see if I can get Heather back. It worked. Sorry, let me try and get Heather back. Okay, Heather will be with us in 2 minutes. She's just signing back in. These are the joys of Zoom. Sometimes network just lets you down briefly, but we shall be back shortly. Yeah. She's almost here.
Hello.
Yeah, you're back.
Hi. So sorry about that.
Yeah,
I'm back. My network.
Maybe you can take off your camera if it's bad, and then.
No, it's going to be fine now.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, you were telling us you had gone to Ghana. Well, I've got a question. Well, it just came into my head as you were speaking about it. Was there any fear on your part that you're going to be working in tech with no technical skills, like you didn't know how to code?
Yes, definitely. That fear was there. I had very deep fear. What you could also call imposter syndrome, where I really thought I wouldn't know what was going on. And for a very long time, I felt like what I was doing, technology, wasn't very important, because until this day, I don't code.
Yeah.
I know how to do front end, so the HTML, the CSS, but I'm more interested in the product management and the product marketing side, which is basically project management for software engineering. So there was a lot to unpack and get through.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I have the same problem. I can't code. I've tried, but I haven't gotten the hang of it. So sometimes when I try and advise founders, for example, without coding experience, they look at you like, huh? But because I understand the user experience, I can then have a say. So you went to Ghana, you got involved in tech, and clearly you enjoyed it because you stayed. And what did you find the environment was like in Ghana, in terms of the office setup or at MEST?
I think what MES did was, I always tell people that whenever they have the opportunity, they should apply to MEST, because MEST is going to change their life. Just the way that you think and approach problem solving, the different mental models that you use to solve problems, it all completely changes. Simply because for 1 year you are in one space with, I remember our class, it had someone who had a master's in artificial intelligence. and another had like everyone had like really crazy skills. And I remember in the class that came afterwards, there were people who were also had nuclear engineering skills. Some were pilots. So it's like you're in a space with very smart people for 1 year, and all you have to do is to think about how can I solve the world's problems using technology. And you're all feeding off around that. It's a very powerful environment because you just grow in a very quick very quick amount of time, and the way that you completely approach problems just changes.
Okay, so at MEST, well, since we're talking about MEST, but you can expand this. What was the diversity like at MEST? And since tech is such a male-dominated environment, I mean, it's not only in Africa. I mean, it's globally. And recently there was an article that came out from Sweden, and of all the companies that have been funded by venture capitalists, it was 0.9% are female led, right? So that's 99% are male backed in Sweden, which is crazy. So what do you think corporates are getting wrong when it comes to diversity, and specifically females, helping females get funded and grow their businesses?
Okay, so while I was at NEST, our class was composed of 31% women, and then 70%, the rest was composed of men. And it's really because at that point in your life, as a woman, a lot is happening. It starts with the women. A lot is happening in terms of the choices that you could make. Around that age, a lot of women are making decisions. Am I going to get married? Am I going to get a stable job in 9 to 5 so that I can make sure that I'm at home, or I can take care of my family? At that time, some have already started families as well. And there's also the challenge where it's a very uncertain path. It's the path that is less traveled. And so because you can't really see the future, how it looks like, women shun entrepreneurship. They decide not to take that path just because of the uncertainty. So when it comes to us saying what are corporates getting wrong, it's really first about, we need to first look at the society. The society, the way it is structured, has it made it possible for women to be able to launch and venture into these new paths and these new directions, without worrying about how they're going to land or how things are going to turn out? Yes, which is why women keep saying we need less mentorship and we need money, because women need to know that if I decide to do this program, there is going to be money at the end if I meet these KPIs, because at the end of the day, that's what you need. Women need to have their own money. So the thing that corporates need to do, if they're setting up incubators, if they're setting up software development programs, you need to make sure that there's a stipend available to give women money. And at the end, there's a lump sum available to give them to build their businesses, because in that way, then they're independent of boyfriends, husbands, fathers. They're able to make the decisions that they need to make for their own self-independence if they want to. And if they even want to build a business while they're married, or build the business while they're in a relationship, money gives them choices. So it's about money. Women need money.
Okay.
And when women have money, women can buy, when women have money, women can buy laptops. When women have money, they can get solar at their houses. They can make sure they have the electricity they need. They can make sure they can get data. They can get the Wi-Fi that they need to access the internet. But as long as you don't have money, you don't have those options. And then without options, you don't have access, and you can't enter into that space because you've already been limited.
Okay. I hear you. Yeah, I've heard that statement before that women want, well, not women, but startups have said they're tired of mentorship. They want money now. So this is the second time I'm hearing, and I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So let's say, for example, in Zimbabwe, you would suggest maybe an accelerator that is focused for women, or an incubator, for example, to find these people that are looking to create something of their own, for example.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Simba. And I won't mince my words, because I've actually had the experience when I moved to Zimbabwe in December 2018. And I worked in Zimbabwe, and then for a time I was now consulting in Zimbabwe. I realized that the intersection of a Black woman and being the intersection where a Black woman lives, where you're a Black woman and then you're a Black woman working in technology, and then you're also an African daughter or an African wife, it's a very, very difficult intersection that you have to navigate, simply because when you wake up in the morning, they maybe you have to make sure that you fetch water. Once you have fetched water, you need to make sure that you've done breakfast for everyone. Around 4 or 5, you need to make sure you're now working on supper, and all of those things. That's the lived reality of the average African woman in Zimbabwe. So now around that time, when you now compare that reality to a guy just wakes up, he eats, and if he needs to go to meetings, if he needs to go and code with his friends, he can just wake up and go. But even you, as an African daughter, you need to account for your time, you need to account for your whereabouts, where you are, you need to account for what you're doing with your time. And so that already limits you. You can't move. I would have never been a woman in tech if I had left Zimbabwe. It's only because someone somewhere sat in Norway and said, we need to put together an incubator where we can actually take these women out of their environment, where they have to clean and cook and take care of all these other things, and just place them in this environment where their only focus is to learn. Only for 1 whole year, all you have to do is learn, study, and just focus on becoming the best tech professional that you can. But now when you're in Zimbabwe, and then you've got all these things that you need to do, your grandmother is looking for you, your aunties are asking you what kind of wife you're going to be when you wake up and you're coding in the morning, instead of making sure that water has, it's difficult. So you need to have accelerators that cater just for women. And also what that happens is that inversely, the working environment in Zimbabwe, we're talking sexual harassment now. Men don't want their women or their daughters to work in these environments, because they know what the other men who are working there, what they are doing when girls are there, they are harassing them. When they need to get the job, they are being harassed while they are working at that job. Yes. So when you take that concept out, even if it becomes a boarding school, that would even be ideal. A 6-month boarding school where young women come and learn how to build software, learn Python skills, learn how to do WordPress, learn digital marketing skills, learn how to build payment systems, how to connect PayPal while you're in Zimbabwe, do how to set up e-commerce stores, all of that. And it's a boarding school for 6 months. All you have to do is come and do this. You get a laptop, you get data, you get Wi-Fi. Then even their fathers would be willing to release them to go to that school. Because even when you look at the rate of the girls that are doing well in school, they're the ones that are in boarding school. So I believe that's the challenge that is there. And that's how we can solve folks, in my opinion.
Okay. Thank you. That was deep. That I enjoyed that. Let me check if Nobutle is working. Nobutle, are you there?
Hi.
You're there. You're back with us.
Yeah, my network. I've actually switched over to data now, so hopefully
You can switch
Yeah,
off your video if it's slow.
I know. I think I'm okay now. Hopefully.
Okay, you think you're okay?
I'm hoping for that.
Okay. Heather, there's some things that you said we definitely need to get back to. I just want to bring Nobutle in. Nobutle, did you hear some of the stuff Heather said? Do you feel that you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I heard part of it, but from what I heard, yes, I 100% concur with what she said. The challenge with the Zimbabwean environment is it's not very inclusive. Yes, we talk of diversity and saying people are going into these spaces, but are we really including them in such a way that we are taking stock of their needs and their situations and rolling them into how we roll out the programs, not only for the girl child, but I think also for the boy child, because we might focus on women alone, but in Zimbabwe, the challenge with tech, I would say it's our infrastructure. Our infrastructure, perfect example. Now, I just found out because my internet connection is so bad. So that really impacts on the access that we have to the network facilities that then allow us to get into those tech spaces. For you to run an online store, or for you to rather to have a social media page, you need internet that is reliable and that is affordable. But in the Zimbabwean context now, not only is access to the internet not accessible to the average Zimbabwean, we also have reliability issues. Our network is not very reliable, and therefore, even when you go into the space, you get discouraged, because at the end of the day, you are like, is it worth it to keep on persisting in such an environment? And I would also want to touch on particularly the girl child. How do we include the girl child in technology? Remember, when we talk the tech spaces, we are not just focusing on the internet aspect, but we're also looking at other fields like industrial technology. We look at medical technology. So those spaces are underexplored in the Zimbabwean market. And you look at the learning institutions that are supposed to provide us with these degrees, their offering is very big. And we are not being exposed to the technologies that will transform our lives for the better. Hence, we find this gap in developing countries where our technology is really up to code. We are simple consumers of technology rather than people who actually develop technology. And another thing that I'm really passionate about in particular is we look at consumer technology. They are developed by mostly developed nations for their societies, which are very different from what we experience in Africa, and more so in Zimbabwe, in such that it becomes difficult for us to relate all those technologies into our Zimbabwean aspect. I'll give an example of Uber. You look at Uber in South Africa. When it began, it was such a wonderful idea. You know, people were excited about it, but now we hear disturbing reports about people using it as a marking platform, you know, whether it's the driver going there with the intent of marking and sexually harassing the women or passengers, or whether it's the passengers themselves actually calling the driver, so they want to hijack and rob the driver. So we look at technologies that need to be adapted, not only for our societies, but also taking into aspect our African societies and how we live our day-to-day lives and where we are at the moment.
Okay.
Answers your question.
Just hold on. We got some people. If you want to ask a question, just hold on to your question, and then at the end, after Heather and Nobutle are done, then we can open it up to the floor for questions and comments and some takeaways. So yeah, I hear what you ladies are both saying. Let me give my own little experience. With our Tech Hub incubator, we are now on our third cohort. So every cohort is about 10 startups. in that, and we get about maybe 50, 60 applications, I think in those applications, I've only seen about 3 or 4 applications from businesses that have been founded by females. So for me, and I've tried to include them, but some of them they were too busy, or I couldn't contact them. I couldn't get hold of them. So it got me thinking, like, where are the females? What's going on? Where's the disconnect? Whereby if I get 100 applications, I only find 5 from women, and the other 95 are men. Is it because I'm not reaching them, or because they're not there? So, I mean, that's me putting it out to you guys. What do you guys think?
Nobushe, should I take this one?
Yeah, you
Yes,
can
please
take
take it.
You can take it, Heather.
Okay. Yes. So Simba, this goes back to the root of exactly what I have said to you, that it's all a matter of choices. At the end of the day, someone is evaluating what is the value of me going into this accelerator program for the next 3 months, where I don't know what the outcome is going to be, versus me pushing, for example, deals, right? Which still makes them an entrepreneur, right? For example, me pushing these deals, going to do, let's say, cross-border trading, instead of me going into this accelerator. So it's a matter of choices, 1. 2, someone then starts to think, what is the benefit of me coming to sit and be attending these sessions at the end of the day? For example, if you're holding like these sessions, for example, at the end of the day, the way to draw in these women that you want to come into the accelerator is that there should be money that is available for them to build a business, whether it's a line of credit that is dependent on them paying back slowly, or whether it's a safe where you're giving them debt capital, or whether you're giving them equity capital. For example, we invest even to say we invest $1,000 into business. We just want you to come in, and then we're going to show you how to add a digital element to your business that is going to change it. Trust me, you are going to see an exponential increase in the number of people who apply, in the number of women who apply, because women need money. Also, the last thing is that women, they are also not thinking of themselves. Sometimes they are also thinking about their families as well. And everyone in this world wants a woman's time. The person whose time is needed the most in this world is a woman. So she's constantly juggling multiple people who need her time. So now when you think about yourself as an incubator and an accelerator, the only way you are able to take that woman's time is by creating a program that works around her schedule. And for you to make sure that you get on top of a list is to offer money. Money. That's the anthem. Money. Offer money, offer financing, and you will see how your programs, they will grow.
Okay. Let me then ask Nobutle, how difficult has it been for you to raise money for your business?
On the money aspect, I don't want to lie, it's really challenging, because how I financed my business was from savings, sometimes from those side hustles that you do, and from family and friends, well wishers, $100 here, $100 there, just to get you by. The cost of doing business in Zimbabwe is insane, especially when you go about it the proper way, like constituting a company, getting someone to really register your company and make it an entity. And you have to pay those taxes, whether you're making a loss or you're not, or you are trading or you are not. You still have to submit those KPTs to ZIMRA, and you still have to pay to get your tax clearance every year. This is so you can be able to service corporates, because once you are unable to service corporates, it means you've left out a huge chunk of the market that could have made up to your sales at the end of the month or the end of the year. And another cost is also the cost of hosting a website. So those are monthly costs that whether you are trading or you are not, you have to finance. And if you don't have a source of income, it means that money coming out of your pocket. And as a woman, I'm looking at my baby. She's hungry, she needs food. And now I'm wearing diapers or pay for website hosting. You know, those are the challenges that we face. And besides that, you also need to maintain a social media presence, you know. And if as a woman, if you can't do it yourself, it means you are getting someone to do it on your behalf. And as we know, social media pays off by constantly posting and posting and posting. And it's not easy to achieve that as a lady, because you have all these other, you know, areas that need your attention. As Heather said, it's juggling many balls at once. And I think the easiest one that we drop is entrepreneurship. When the going gets tough, the first thing that suffers is gifting. They just say, you know what, let me leave this for a while. I'll come back to it when things settle down a bit. So yeah, I really do agree with Heather there. And another point that I wanted to raise with you and also directed to Heather is the feasibility of having apps in Africa. We all know data is expensive, especially in Zimbabwe. Like the average Zimbabwean will have data for WhatsApp and maybe for Facebook and Twitter. So when we develop these, are people really using them? What's the end user experience like? We've got giants like Econet who've tried to make people take up the Yomix app. In my view, we haven't really been taking up apps. And in other countries, people are constantly on Instagram. People really prefer being on WhatsApp. So my question to you guys, you Simba as well, is how do we work around that as the Zimbabwean business community, and how do we use apps to our advantage, or rather we find an alternative for that?
Okay. Heather, you want to answer the question?
Yeah, sure. In my opinion, right, I think from a user experience perspective, and even just from a marketing perspective, the reason why you would develop an app in the first place is that you would have realized that in terms of the customer journey that your customer is moving through, an app is going to offer easy accessibility for them and affordability. Will they be able to access? I think that apps are slowly going obsolete, just because a lot of the business functions that we need to conclude in order to do business online, they are now available on WhatsApp. You can set up a WhatsApp business profile and you can still do business, and then you can still receive your money through EcoCash and other payment channels. So even if you now decide to go a step further and then you set up a web app, for example, all now you have to do is integrate PayNow, integrate Visa, integrate MasterCard, which means that I think your audience would not be the local audience. Your audience would be, if it's local, is the very elite audience who have MasterCards that have got US dollars in them. But then your audience would be primarily the diaspora, because they are the ones that have got the financing to be able to pay for your service and access your service at any single time. But if I don't think thinking of an app for your service for the Zimbabwe market would usually not be a good port of first call, just because of the number of people that are able to access your service. But it depends, again, on what you are selling and how the needs for the need that you are solving equally correlates to the service that your customers need, that your customers need. Because when you really need it, you know, they will use data to access that the app. But when it's a nice to have, people won't really necessarily be quite interested in accessing it because it's not a necessary thing that they need.
Yeah, I think just to add to what Heather's saying, yeah, apps are tricky because unless your market is big, you're going to spend a lot of money developing something with very few users, and that will not be feasible. But in some instances, you need an app. And like you yourself, you deliver gifts. So the app then comes in handy when people are now tracking their order. That's GiftZ, and also Munch is another organization that has an app. They make good use of that. But alternatively, you can then, because of the cost of data, you may run on two apps. You have companies like AfriBlocks, which have a website for freelancers, and they also make use of WhatsApp because they understand that a lot of their customers solely buy data for WhatsApp. So I think you have to know your customers very well before you decide to build an app, because that 3,000 to 5,000 that you spend building that app could rather be used on a website like Heather said, or just on WhatsApp, and you could still get the same results. But once you start thinking bigger than just Zimbabwe, then you can look at an app. Well, we're not saying it's improbable, it's not possible, but ideally you'd want to, since you're bootstrapping and you're a startup, you'd rather try and have an MVP that costs you the least amount of money. Yeah, that's my little take. So I think give this to Heather. You've said money. What else would you like to see change in the tech ecosystem for women?
I think access and communities, yes. I've noticed something that Ghana has that I struggled to find when I was in Zimbabwe, and that is like women in tech communities.
Yeah.
In Ghana and also in Lagos, where I have friends as well who are also into tech, I've noticed it's so particular, right down to even the language. Like there's women in Python, not not the snake, but Python, the programming language.
Yes.
There's women in Java, women in JavaScript, women in front end, women in back end, women who are doing all these different technologies, and so they can help each other through the learning the process, and that's really what you need. You need a buddy who's going to work with you through the process, who's going to be there to support you when you don't feel like going on. But when I was in Harare, the only community that I could find was, I think, Impact Hub Harare, and that was for social. So we meet, we talk tech, maybe there's a conversation like today. And they had a program as well, the micro workspace program that was running at the time. Kadzoka Charai was running that program. And but that was it. That was all that I could find. There were no meetups, there were no hackathons, there were no all-night coding sessions. It was not there because and I could realize why in Zimbabwe by 6 o'clock, after 6 o'clock, coding, say. So that's the challenge. I think women need access to those communities. We need to have those communities for young women so that they can then, once they feel like they have those communities, right? Those communities also plug into regional communities, and those regional communities all plug into international communities. And now when you look at the way the world has gone, the first people who are benefiting from the way coronavirus has gone and remote work are the developers, the tech professionals, software development professionals, because now companies are like, don't mind where you are, we just want to know that you can do the work.
Yeah.
And that's really it. Software developers have never needed to come into the office. So when I think about the ways to unlock wealth creation for Zimbabwean women, the average salary of a junior front-end web developer is $1,000 a month. If a woman in Zimbabwe is earning $1,000 a month, can she buy a stand? Can she buy a car? Can't she do all the things that she needs to do? And she doesn't have to be 24. She can be 18 years old. She can be 16 years old. She can be 17 years old. And then for her to start doing that, what does she need? She needs a free front-end web development course. And those ones are so many on the internet now. It's just a matter of basically looking for the ones that have got quality. And I'm very happy to send a list of that to you so that you can send out to your participants of free front-end web development courses that young women can take right now. But laptop, hapana data, hakuna magetsi, hakuna mvura, unofana kutanga wachera mvura. So all these challenges combined, they make it difficult for a young woman to get into software development. But then now, if you now even think, what is the starting salary of a junior back-end developer? It's not less than $2,000 a month. So if we just put our heads together and we source for financing to put together an academy where we are just training women who are coming out of A-level who want to do a 1 year or a 2 year program to become full stack software engineers. And then afterwards, we place you into remote roles and you get work, you've got a mentor. Those women can become the start of these communities that we want to build. These communities of software development entrepreneurs that we need to build. And it's so important and so imperative that we get it, because the people who can create software are the digital architects of the future.
Yeah.
That's the way we are going. Everything is going online. So it's so important that not just beyond front end, making websites look pretty, we also need people who understand how to do machine learning, who understand how to back-end development. I see Tadzoka is here online now. Tadzoka, like I mentioned, she's already one of those programs. Thank you for joining us. So in my opinion, I don't know who wants to do this, but please, I'm here, I'm in Ghana. There are engineers who are excited by that possibility of coming to Zimbabwe to train young women on how to build software. We just need to put a plan together, raise funding, build a school, and make this happen. It will happen. And because Zimbabweans, when we are like hunters, when you see that there is money there, we don't stop, we go for the money, because we know you can't sleep, you have to get the money. So I know that even the women that we recruit come and go into the school, they will be the best that the region has ever seen, and they can go toe to toe with the world's best. That's my opinion.
I'd love to be involved in some capacity, but I'd let the women take over definitely. Because no, I mean, what would you like to see change in tech for women? Hello? Okay, we've got more people who'd love to be involved. Hello? No, Butle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I'm saying, what would you like to see change in the tech ecosystem for women? If you want to add anything to what Heather said.
I think she's already touched on that point. I would have added more workshops on teaching the girl child how to code, and also unveiling opportunities within the tech industry or the tech sector. So yeah, and also funding is very important. I think that's one area really that really we need to push on, because without the funding, we are basically just, we need to the laptops and the data, and
bear in mind, we're not just talking about the girl child in the urban areas. There are also the girl child in the rural area. She's never had a cell phone. She's never had a laptop. We also need to reach that girl child and look into how we reach that girl child. And there are areas in Zimbabwe where there's zero network. You know, I don't know how they can be helped, but, you know, also look into lobbying the government into putting in place structure in those areas so that.
Okay. I'm losing my train of thought. So
Simba, I want to add something to what Nobuhle said.
Okay.
Nobuhle, thank you for mentioning that. I think also that in line with the government's devolution agenda right now, I've noticed that in almost every district in Zimbabwe, there is sort of a library of some sort. I think we also need to have innovation hubs in every municipality in Zimbabwe, innovation hubs. And these innovation hubs, if they are funded, even just for the first year by the government, what it's about creating a meeting place where young innovators can just be together and just think together. Yes. And if you can think about any city, any town, any country, there's a library there. Can't those libraries be converted into innovation hubs? Do we necessarily have to think that we have to build a new innovation hub? And why must technology be centralized to Harare? In Bulawayo, I think there was only one tech village. In Mutare, I think there's Mapasua, but Marondera needs a hub. Kwekwe needs a hub. And all of these different areas strengths in terms of even Marondra from farming. Why can't the hub also be at a local university as well? So I think that having these innovation hubs is very, very important. Once you decentralize technology and then you spread it and it disperses across all the different regions, then you're opening up growth for other, as Nobuhle mentioned, the rural, the children, the women that are in the rural areas, which is so important.
Okay, just that's one goal that we have at TechHub. We're trying to do that, but in hopefully we can do that in the future. My question to you ladies would be: do you feel the tech community has done enough to educate the masses, not just women, but the masses of the opportunities that are there within the tech, within the fields of tech? Because Heather, you said the salaries that you're speaking about, that's amazing. But I feel that the tech community has not done enough to educate. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that people are trying. People are trying their best. Yeah, I'm aware of a lot of hubs and a lot of digital skills practitioners. There are people like Tofara Chokera. She's doing so well in the digital marketing space, trying to teach people digital marketing skills. I really think that people are trying, but it's a matter of someone thinks I need to survive now. Right? I need to make sure I have food now. Yes. So at the end of the day, no matter how interesting it sounds, no matter how amazing it sounds, that if I put 6 months into this, in a year I could be earning $1,000. At the end of the day, between now and those 6 months, you need to be eating something. Yeah. So that's why I mentioned that when people come in, they're learning these skills, they need to get a stipend. They need to get money to be able to travel to and fro if they're traveling, or if they're going to be staying there. People just need to know that we have come here to learn and to study. I really think that people are doing their best here. Zimbabwe is one of the most difficult environments to run a hub in, and I know a lot of hub managers who go into their personal pockets just to keep the electricity going. Just because the return, it doesn't happen in the first year. or the second year. So I think people are trying their best, but it's not an easy environment. What's needed is more money. Yes, we need more money to be dispersed out into the system.
Yeah. Nobodle, do you want to add something there?
Yes. I would say the people have tried, like people are really trying. I'll talk of Aretha Mare and Rumbita Imlambo, who ran a coding workshop for the cloud. So you can see it's a lot of people really trying to get the word out there. And even when you look at the STEM initiative by the government, they were also trying in their, to really bring people into, expose them into these new careers that they can go into. But as we say, we are a developing nation, and by that, we are a poor nation. And bread matters will always come above everything else. And at the end of the day, it's me looking out for my family first before I can then go out and look out for another person. But I think, as you are saying, as the communities are working, we are getting a lot of these tech-ups going out there and trying to really teach people how to do coding, and also how to build these online stores and how to run these businesses. So hopefully in the next year or so, or in another 2 years, when we're past this COVID pandemic, people will be back on their feet, and then maybe we'll see a lot of people going out there and really trying to educate not just young people, but also bring in older people into this and teach them that it's not too late to teach an old dog new skills. They can also come into this, after retirement. This can be the retirement schemes that we need, and not just looking out for the NASA payouts, which everyone is always complaining about.
Okay, I think this will be my final question to you guys. So which females in tech inspire you? First on the continent, and then second globally. Nobutla, you can go first.
Okay, I'll talk of Sam Wright. She's a South African entrepreneur, and she's in so many ways, she inspires me, not just also globally. I usually refrain from using global icons because they have a different setup from us. So mostly they don't understand what it is to be African and the problems that we have faced on a day-to-day basis. So if I were to measure my progress and what I do by a United States global icon, I'll be shooting myself in the foot, because most of the time I'll become demotivated and demoralized, because those guys, maybe they've got easy access to funding. So as I said, my icon is Sam Wright, because she's one person who's not afraid to go into that space. She's got a tech hub. She also blogs, and she also brings together women in tech. So really, she's gone out there and she says, you know what, this is not a male-dominated space. This is a space that we can also take up. And she also pushes this agenda that let's not look at people as male or female. Let's just look at people and what they can bring to the table. Also, some of my icons are the women that I work with and give cheesy. I've got Adora by Musa. She's doing hair products. I've got Margot. She does golden platters. I've got Tracy. She's extreme carpet. She does carpet cleaning. I've got Cindy. She's got an events company. So these are all ladies that are making it in an environment that is so difficult. And these are all ladies that are juggling work, that are juggling school, that are young mothers, they are wives, but they are also career women, and they are also entrepreneurs. And those are the people that I look at and I realize that if they can do it, I can also do it.
Okay, thank you. Heather?
Okay, so locally, I look up to Jackie Hussein. Jackie Hussein runs July 28 Consulting, and I used to work for her when I was in Zimbabwe. She's one of the judges for the Ego Export Incubator with Zimtrade, yes. She's also a mentor at at Impact Harare, and she has built business in a very, very difficult environment. I remember when I used to work for her, my colleagues and I used to say, with the drive and the passion that she has, if she was in America, she'd be a multi-millionaire by now, or a Fortune 500 company. She has introduced fintech products into the Zimbabwean space, such as Caseware, Colfax, Sharp. She's an ERP distributor. So she's a registered accountant, but she's someone who has gone further to teach herself technology. She's someone who's even challenged herself to learn to know how to code. And she employs over 20 people right now. And when you think about the Zimbabwean Stock Exchange, many of them, the CFOs are using Caseware products to do their financial reporting tools. So when you think about financial reporting and you think about technology in Zimbabwe, it's Jackie Hussein who has got that market. So I really look up to her. I've worked alongside her and seen how hard it is to build a tech business in Zimbabwe. So I really respect her work, and I respect her work ethic. She's very hardworking. And then regionally, I wouldn't say internationally, because I agree with Nomuhle. We don't have the same chances, such that if Nomuhle and I were transplanted into America, we'd probably also raise millions of dollars. But we're in Zimbabwe and we're in Africa. So I look up to Charlotte and Gesam. Charlotte is the first woman to win the Royal Academy of Engineering prize. She won that prize last year in 2020 for a solution called Base API. And what Base API does is that they connect to a database for driver's licenses, government IDs, and they use this to authenticate and verify the identity of the user, whether it's for a bank or any program that you have decided. So it's a great solution because it's the first AI-driven platform that authenticates and verifies the identity of Black people. If you understand the challenges surrounding artificial intelligence and how it is, and the bias that happens when white people develop artificial intelligence for Black people, it's actually a groundbreaking program she built. So I met her when I was at MEST Africa. So we went to school together, and I've really just admired her growth, just to see her shooting for the stars. At some point, she was a solo founder, and right now, with the funding that she has won, she's expanding her company. She's growing a company. She has contributed a book chapter to an AI intelligence book. So I'm really proud of her, and she inspires me every single day as I try and also solve for X to understand how I can use my tech skills to make the world a better place.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. That was insightful. To the audience, we are open for questions now. If you'd like to ask some questions, you can put them in the chat if you're shy, or you can just unmute your mic and speak to the panelists. So we're waiting for questions. Where are the question people?
I have one.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so a lot of what I had written down, you said to write down our questions. So I actually had quite a bunch, which I think the ladies have done a really good job of answering in all the ways this conversation has rolled out. But the one thing that I wanted to know what your feelings are about this. You said whenever you put out calls for applications, you get maybe 50 and only 3 or 4 are from female entrepreneurs. And we had a similar situation recently where we put out a call for developers and we got 41 applications and 1 was a female.
Yes.
So you said earlier, I try and call them up, but then for whatever reason, you don't get a response back. do you think that sort of affirmative action helps the cause? Do we want to give females these spots specifically because they are females and the diversity is lacking? Or do you think it's just better that they come in on their own merit? So this is going to Heather and Nobuke in that, would you prefer that women are given these chances specifically because they've chosen to participate? Or do you think then that that has a negative impact on what we're trying to do, which is to get women to explore their talent, to do what they're good at, and to build from that, as opposed to just getting a chance handed to them because they're women? Which is the better way for us to proceed?
Are you asking,
in your opinion?
Are you asking
no,
me?
not you, girls.
No, not me. Okay, I was gonna give my opinion, but no.
Well, no, I heard what you said.
Oh, okay.
But now the female perspective is that, would we rather we get these chances or yeah. I don't know who's gonna take it first.
Good question.
I would say okay.
Who can go? Okay, Heather, go first. Your name by alphabetically.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, thank you so much for this question. I firmly believe in meritocracy. So I think women should earn their place. That is what I believe. I think that we do a disservice when we lower the stakes for when we lower the quality for young women, you know, because I don't believe that. I think it's harmful in the long run. I think in the earlier days it might be useful because it will widen the pipeline, so to say, right, and give more opportunities. But in the long run, I think it does more harm. Rather, I believe in programs and challenges that are only for women, because then I think that authentic growth and mentorship can happen there. But when we lower the qualifications, it becomes harder even for their own colleagues to take them seriously as well, and for their confidence as well to grow while they're in the role. And the other thing that is that it'll be hard for you to advance, because when you come in on an affirmative action ticket and your qualifications are not the best, you have to work twice as hard to get the trust of your colleagues. You have to work twice as hard to get the trust of management and the trust of your team. So I believe in meritocracy. I think that the people that are qualified should be pushed through, but initially we should try and find ways to increase the pipeline, just in terms of creating programs for women that are just for women.
Nobutle, do you have anything to add there?
I think Heather has said all of it. As she said, it's a double-edged sword. And when dealing with that, you really need to be careful. In as much as once we go on merit alone, we then discourage those in the pipeline. But then again, if we do that, we are making others not respect the work being done by women. At the end of the day, I would like to advocate for what we call, let's just strip away the gender. I know it's hard, but we live in a society that likes to place us in boxes. You are a woman, you are a man, you are female, you are male, you are this, you are that. Let's just strip away gender and just look at a person and look at what they have to bring into the table. And also, looking into diversity, let's be inclusive. Let's look at the person and say, okay, looking into your situation, what you produce, is it up to par? Is it up to code? If we give the same resources, or if we capacitate you with the same resources and the same investments in time and in training, will you or won't you be able to bring us a quality product? I think that's where we should start from looking at situations rather than end up limiting women to reach their full potential.
Okay. It's a good answer. Any more questions? I'm sure Kudzi has more questions.
No, not for today, at least. Otherwise, I'd talk forever. Thank you. No, I'll definitely be
There's a
reaching out to the
question in the chat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me read it. This is from Ayodele. Ayodele, what's up, man? As ICT is one of the most exploitive industries in the world, any advice to women on how to protect themselves? Okay. Exploitive.
Okay, so I think I'll take this one.
Okay.
I think I'll take this one since I work in tech. So I think from my experience, every woman needs a team. When you start working in tech, you need a team around you. And this team is people who have already achieved one. So people who are either in leadership positions. And then you also need sponsors, people who are already working, let's say in organizations that you want to work for in the future. You connect with these people via LinkedIn. And then within the organization that you work, you also need a support structure of people that you can have frank conversations with about challenges that you are facing. And it's also very important when you start working in a role to develop a good relationship with your manager and one-on-ones that you can share the challenges that you're facing in your role. I know that one of the major challenges of working in tech is the amount of time that you're needed to just be on and available. And I think that this is something that over time, when you first start out in the job, unfortunately, I think it's called paying your dues. Being available all the time is kind of how the industry is set up. And then as you go up the ladder and you grow in skills and experience, you sort of are able to then choose your hours and choose the organizations that you want to work for. But it's very, very important to have a team around you of mentors, people that are supporting you, of people in leadership positions that you are sharing your career goals with and how your career is growing. All these people will protect you if you need to come out of an organization. I remember when I first started working in Johannesburg, when I left the digital agency I was working for, I left because it was a racist organization. And I had a mentor, a white lady, and I was able to be honest with her, and I told her, I'm coming in every day. My team members are white. I'm the only Black girl. They're not treating me well. This is hard. I'm not able to do my job. She didn't mince a word. She said, let's get you out of there. And was that in a week, she got out of there and I moved into another role, a better company. I was still working for white people, but I was a valued member of staff. If she was not my mentor, I would not have been able to have that. So it's very important, and that happens when you are also open about your career goals and where you want to be. There are people who will support you, even if you speak to someone for the first time on LinkedIn. I want to be like you in the next 10 years. Can I please keep in touch with you with what I'm thinking of doing? With people are very, very willing to help. So that's my experience. Build a team around that will be able to support you if things are not going well. And when you need to move, or people who can even advocate for you when you see a role where you believe you'll be able to do well.
Hey, that was a great answer. Do you want to add that, or let's move to the next question? Any more questions? Unless, no, Butler, if you want to add, you can add something. You can jump in. Don't worry. Don't wait for me. You can jump in. Do you have any more questions? Ladies, gents? So I don't think we have any more questions. All right. So Heather, thank you very much for your point of view and for your opinion and all your thoughts and everything today. You've said some amazing stuff. Let's hope that we can set up this I don't know, fund/incubator. Well, now that the idea is out there in the universe, let's hope it can manifest into something.
Yes.
I really appreciate that.
Yes.
Like, yeah, this can't be just talk. Let's pray that something actually happens. I'm pro women. Let's go, girls. So I want to see something.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
It was amazing. Mobutle, thank you so much for your insights as well and everything that you've shared today. We really appreciate that. All the way from Bulawayo. So we want to represent the other side of the country, bring everyone together. Harare and Bulawayo and women under one flag. So thank you to you two ladies. We appreciate this. To everyone who joined us tonight, thank you. We shall do this again, maybe in a different topic, but next time maybe I won't be the host and it'll be a woman. And we have it all women, and I can just listen. So guys, thank you and good night. That'll be what?
Thank you. Someone said, let's hope so, no offense.
None taken, none taken. I'll be so.
Yeah, you did a great job.
I'll be so. Thank you. I'll be so much happier to be in the gallery watching. Perfect. Perfect.
Right.
I just set it up. You guys can take over.
Thank you very, very much. This was an interesting conversation to share, and I'm really glad you invited me. I really appreciate this, and I look forward to more opportunities speaking with you. Thank you as well to Nobutle. I really enjoyed connecting with you, and I hope that we can connect further beyond this platform. I wish you all a very good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Stay warm, stay safe, social distance, and all that other stuff.
You too. All
Cheers.
right. Okay.